These decks are usually marketed with little books. Like I've got one right here. Here's one of the little book that came along with this Thoth deck. Or my new wave tarot has an interpretation kind of like it's it's all over the place, but that'll tell you how to kind of explain stuff, and it connects it to different band names and whatnot. It's kind of fun. Anyway, so they have these little books, right? So they are ostensibly to interpret the meaning. The booklets are basic, usually giving you sort of like a vague interpretation of the symbols and having like a one-to-one interpretation. Like if you see this, then you'll meet a tall and dark stranger. So the difference between, say, these little books, I would like to say, and sort of a larger book like, say, this, here's Crowley's original Book of Thoth that a friend of mine gave me a few years back, or the difference between looking in this little book and saying, oh, when this happens, it means this, is sort of like the difference that Freud describes in interpreting dreams. There were books of oniromancy, which some of you have written about, divination due to dreams, would say when this dream symbol happens, then this will happen to you. Freud looked at those and said, those don't actually teach us about dreams and what dreams are doing. And he set forth a method of psychoanalysis, analyzing the soul using dreams. In that sense, looking at one of these little books to read the tarot cards is the equivalent of just looking up what a symbol means in a manual of dreams, as opposed to talking to someone and realizing what is at the heart, what is at the wish, what is at the bottom, what is at the navel of the dream. Crowley, in fact, described, Aleister Crowley, the cards as having relationships. So how do you learn the cards? It's kind of like you go to a party and you watch people interact. You watch how the cards interact together when you put them out, when you read for people, or just as you see the symbols playing off one another. So the meaning of the card dawns upon you as you watch the way the cards interact, sort of like if you go to a party and you see an aristocrat and a laborer and see how they interact. Well, how are they going to react to a priest? And then when a cop walks in, you see how they interact and you learn about those people. You can discern their identities from their behaviors. Now, how does one draw upon these cards? Drawing styles are diverse. Some readers use all sorts of different layouts. Like on the left, you see the Celtic cross. That's a very common one. Some people use a 3-card draw. That's the one I do when I want to do one really fast. Some will just draw 1 card and interpret from that. I don't get very much off that. I use a 5-card draw, which you'll see me demonstrate in the video today, that I use quite a bit. Some are like 5 cards, some are 6 cards. One that I use, that I usually give to people for their birthday, is it's a 30-card setup that Aleister Crowley sets up in the Book of Thoth. But it takes me over an hour to do, and after it, I'm so drained. It is rough. It's hard on me. Okay, so what are the different uses that contemporary people use for tarot cards? Well, there's, of course, divination. So telling the future, diagnosing your fate, prescribing something that's going to happen to you. What I would say is more valuable is description and self-exploration, not telling the future, finding insights that readily occur due to the rich symbolism of the cards. Symbolisms that are laid on by generation after generations of artists, occultists, and interpreters. You may remember Jodorowsky said in one of our intro videos that if you are telling the future with cards and trying to tell someone else's future, you're a con man. There's no other way about it. You are scamming people. But if you're using the cards to help provide deeper insights, to tell stories, to access the unconscious, then you're using the cards intriguingly. And in fact, this is a big part of what Jodorowsky calls psychomagic, or psychomagic, psychomagi, psychological magic, which is a system that he's developed readily and practices and demonstrates. So there have been there's lots of ways you can use the tarot for self-exploration, not telling the future. You find insights, and those readily come up from, as I said, the rich symbolism of the cards. Artists, quite a few of them, have described using the cards to get access for inspiration. You get access to your unconscious. Psychological therapists have deployed them in therapy, and Jodorowsky recommends that, but there are professional psychologists that do the same thing. So